Ever felt like you're not normal because of how you think or feel? Or picture this, you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. Everyone looks happy and successful, but you're feeling anxious or sad. You start to wonder, is this normal? This is a common worry, but it's based on a myth. The problem isn't you, it's the idea of normal mental health. In this episode, we'll explore why this concept is flawed and how we can think about mental health in a more helpful way. Here's a surprise. Even psychiatrists don't use the word normal when talking about mental health. They know it can cause harm. Believing in a fixed normal can make people feel shame. It can stop them from getting help when they need it. And who am I to deconstruct this word? My name is Dr. Sulman Aziz Mirza, triple board certified in adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and addiction medicine. And every time I'm working with a patient of mine, I have to do the stupid air quotes thing whenever I say normal. So I hope I don't have to do it whenever I say normal here. And okay, I'm just going to stop it now. You might think mental health is simple. You're either okay or you're not okay. But what if I told you that it's more like a sliding scale? This view could change everything about how you see yourself and others. Let's picture mental health as a colorful spectrum. On one end, you have vibrant reds and oranges. These might represent times when you feel great. On the other end, there are deeper purples and blues. These could be times when you're struggling. But here's the key. Most of us spend our time somewhere in the middle, in the greens. This idea of a mental health spectrum is important. It shows us that there's no clear line between normal and not normal. We all move up and down the scale. Some days we might feel closer to the purple end. On other days we might drift towards the red end. And that's okay. Culture plays a big role in where we see ourselves on this spectrum. What's seen as typical in one place might seem odd in another. For example, in some cultures, hearing voices is a spiritual experience. In others, it's seen as a sign of illness. This shows us how flexible our idea of normal can be. Thinking about mental health as a spectrum can help us in many ways. It reminds us that everyone has ups and downs. This can make us kinder to ourselves when we're having a tough time. It can also help us understand others better. We might realize that someone we thought was abnormal is just at a different point on the spectrum than us. This view challenges the idea that mental health is black and white. It's not about being crazy or sane. Instead, it's about recognizing that we all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. And just like physical health, our mental health can change over time. Understanding this can be freeing. It means you don't have to fit into a narrow idea of what's normal. You can accept that your mental health will have ups and downs. This doesn't mean that you're broken or weird. It means that you're human. But here's where it gets even trickier. Even though mental health is a spectrum, there are still times when people need help. So how do we know when something is a normal life experience and when it's a problem that needs attention? That's where things get interesting. If you've ever wondered why your therapist avoids calling something normal, you're not alone. The answer reveals a shift in how we view mental health, and it might change how you think about your own experiences. Psychiatrists don't like to use the word normal when talking about mental health. Instead, they prefer terms like appropriate or inappropriate. This isn't just about being politically correct or woke, it's about being more accurate and helpful. Why does this matter? Well, labeling behaviors as simply normal or abnormal can be risky. It doesn't take into account the whole picture. For example, feeling anxious before a big test might be appropriate, but feeling anxious all the time, even when nothing's happening, might not be. It's all about context. Think about it this way. What's seen as normal can change over time. Society and culture play a big role in this. What was once thought of as odd might become accepted later on. This shows us that there's no fixed idea of what's normal. Psychiatry itself is guilty of this, very famously incorrectly pathologizing homosexuality as a mental illness until it was removed from the DSM in 1973 with the publication of DSM-3. Understanding why normal is a tricky word can help us think about mental health in a better way. It allows us to be more compassionate towards ourselves and others. It also helps us see that mental health is complex and personal. So, next time you're tempted to call something normal or not normal, pause for a moment. Remember that mental health isn't black and white. It's a range of experiences that can change based on many factors. This new way of thinking about mental health opens up some interesting questions. How do we know when something is a problem that needs help? Is there a better way to think about our mental health without comparing ourselves to others? Let's flip the script on mental health. Instead of asking, am I normal? What if we asked, is this helping or hurting me? This simple shift in perspective can change everything about how we view our mental well-being. Psychiatrists focus on how thoughts and behaviors affect daily life, not how they compare to others. They look at whether these thoughts and behaviors cause distress or make it hard to function. This approach is more helpful than trying to fit everyone into the normal box. Think about it like this. You have a unique set of experiences, genetics, and your environment. These all shape your mental health. What works for you might not work for someone else. That's why a one-size-fits-all idea of normal doesn't make sense. This way of thinking about mental health is freeing. It means you don't have to measure up to some imaginary standard. You can focus on what helps you live your best life. Education plays a big role in this new approach. The more we learn about mental health, the less stigma there is. Open talks about mental health help everyone understand it better. This leads to more acceptance and support for those who need help. Adopting this view can also change how we support others. Instead of judging behaviors as normal or not normal, we can ask if they're helpful or harmful. This creates a more caring and understanding environment for everyone. Here's an example. Your friend seems down lately. Instead of thinking, that's not normal, you might ask, is this affecting your daily life? Do you need support? This approach is more likely to help your friend feel heard and understood. Remember, mental health is not about being perfect. It's about finding ways to cope with life's challenges. Sometimes that means getting help from others. There's no shame in that. In fact, reaching out for help when you need it is a sign of strength. This new perspective on mental health is empowering. It gives you tools to assess your own well-being. You can ask yourself, are my thoughts and behaviors helping me live the life that I want? If the answer is no, you know it might be time to seek support. Let's recap what we've learned. Mental health isn't black and white. It's a wide range of experiences. What matters most is how our thoughts and feelings affect our daily lives, not how they compare to others. Context is key. Knowing this, we can start to see our mental health in a new light. It's okay to be wherever you are on the spectrum. Some days might be harder than others, and that's normal. The important thing is to know when to ask for help. Remember, there's no such thing as normal mind. Each of us is unique, dealing with our own challenges. By accepting this, we can be kinder to ourselves and to others. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding ways to cope with life's ups and their downs. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Let me know other words or terms that you hate seeing, and we can look into how to come up with better words. Until next time, be safe and be well.